Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to King B's Daily RNS Podcast, where I go over some of the key RNSs from the day, a bit of the market movement, and a bit of detail behind them. So first up, Bird. So they talk about their Elevate.io, which basically creates audio content, sort of creativity and editing platform, which they're hoping to launch in Q1 2024. They talk about being disruptive. They're talking about the fact they're kind of trying to take a share of this 20 billion market, which kind of they're involved in. And I suppose that the things to really think about there is, you know, with the likes of Canva and other editing software out there that people use, will it cut through the market? Is it, you know, it's that disruptive element. Will they disrupt really quickly, bring revenue into the business? But an exciting time for shareholders to be part of it. And they were waiting for this one for a long time. So good luck to you all. Next one, Miri. Master Services Agreement, 16% up on the day. Really good rise, this one. An interesting one here, actually. It's a mass media entertainment company. And they're talking about the fact they've now got a sort of 15% market share of revenue in the US TV advertising market. Basically, they do AI-powered virtual sort of in-content advertising solution. And I think it sounds a really interesting one. It's something I've not looked at before. So, yeah, something maybe to do a deep dive in and think about the balanced risks and sort of maybe think about it. Next one, GWMO. We talked about this one last few days about needing a permit for the production bit. But it kind of flat now. It's 64% down just this year. So again, it's a possible turnaround to possibly look at. I love a turnaround stock. So, you know, will it do okay? Who knows? But today was a good sign because it has 135 new soil samples, 90 new claims staked in this West Huntoon area. They brought in a guy called Dr. Lawrence, who's a specialist in copper. And basically what they're saying is their previous focus was just on this M2 bit of their claims. But now they're saying there might be a wider additional discoveries on top of it. But again, it needs extensive drilling. It says that in the RNS, and that takes a lot of funding to do extensive drilling. So, you know, where's the money coming from? Again, JVs, loans, debt. You know, we have to understand that they might have a really good discovery, which would be great for them. But again, we need to understand where the money is coming from. Next up, CEL. So, you know, at one point, this company was in the 300s, and I think it's in the hundreds today. 30% up on the day, and it's good again. Could it be a turnaround stock again? Basically, this company produces pharmaceutical grade cannabis products, and they've got this contract now. And guess what, everyone? We have information in an RNS which lists the contract. Well, hey, you know, we don't get a lot of figures sometimes in contracts, so it's nice to see it. So the potential to generate 26 million into the business, 8.7 million annually. First drilling in H2. First delivery in H2 2024. You know, I do too much metals and mining. I keep saying drilling all the time. Right, first delivery in H2 2024. So again, they need to do it and keep going with it. And they've got a previous 3 million revenue contract too. So again, some contracts coming in now. So it could be a really good turnaround for the stock again. You know, but again, there's always risks with pharma. You know, it all depends on how much they get out. And do well. It's got to prove in the market, hasn't it? It's got to prove its worth. Next up, TGP. So 2% up on the day, 2.5 million contract award. They basically do cable production, and they're doing it in a subsea area now in the Middle East. And they're saying they're doing really well in the Middle East, which is great. And this will actually be delivered, this money, in Q2 2024. So actually a bit of way off. So I haven't dug into the company, but it might be interesting to see what the cash position is now. Will it, you know, can it get to Q2 2024 without money? I don't know, but it's something to look at if you want to deep dive into it. Next up, ATM, 3% down the day, issued 25 million shares. There's lots of things in this that I started digging into it. When I read this RNS, I started digging in. So you know what I'm like, I'll dig into something. Right. Shares, loan notes and warrants. Orion funding. So, and this said it went back to the 15th of August. So I went back to the 15th of August. Of course I did. 2.5 million at 6.39, 10 million CLNs, warrants equivalent to double the GBP value of the 10 million CLN. Warrants equivalent to double. And I read this and thought that's a little line in there that I didn't really see. Based on the closing rate at the market close of the issue date. So I'm guessing the issue date is today. So yeah, I think there's a lot of debt there, and there's a lot of convertible loan notes, and we know what they do to SPs. So just something to be wary of if you're doing a deep dive into the company. Next up, AXL, 5% up on the day. Do you know what? I don't see a lot of RNSs that I always fully like, because I'm quite skeptical, as you know. But I like this RNS. I think there's a lot in here that was very positive. I think they've got a lot going on. And by the way, I hold no shares in any of these companies talk today. I know I'm being positive in this one. I'm not always massively positive, but this is I think it's a good one. I think they got 50% interest in this Llanos Basin in Colombia. Then they got 100% interest in this Magdalena, I think, Valley in Colombia. They got 417 BOPD net in one bit with 29.8 degrees API gravity. And then 197 BOPD somewhere else. They basically drilled some more and got some more out. There's a new formation they found that they talked about, this 197 BOPD. They're spudding in the other basin as well. And 8 development wells for 2023. So there's a lot going on there, I think. Again, though, I suppose, like with any caveat, it's about money, isn't it? But then I looked into the money side and thought, well, it says it's fully funded and low risk. There's 4 more wells, 2023. And there's an 8 development well program when they're spudding in this other basin. So there's a lot going on with this company. It's just maybe something to do another deep dive in and really get to it before making any investment. Next up, ARK, flat on the day, placing to raise £215,000, issue 61 million shares at 0.35. But the good thing is, the directors took 28 million and 16 million respectively. So really good to see directors buying in with that money. Shows a bit of confidence in that, hopefully. GMET, results highlight. So dug into this one as well. 2.1 million in cash. Flow net 1.8 million. Then I started digging into it a bit more. And the cash and equivalents is 1.3. They made an 848k loss last year. They have £878,000 of admin expenses. Then they said in the caveat to be a going concern that with warrant exercises and an ability with an ability to raise new funds, and the good one is US possible government grants for part of their work. Without that, with that, they'll end up being they can sustain. So what I'm saying is where are these new funds coming from? And talk about warrant exercises. I'm just something to be wary of. Then I went back to the 2nd of August where it says they paid issues of shares in lieu of fees, and that always worries me when a company starts doing that. KOD, just confirming really the major holdings. The 4.72 is the subscription element of the finance package. 13% down the day because it's 3 billion new shares. So it's a bit of a kicker in the teeth, I think, for shareholders. I think it should have been separated where they get the funding, let some positivity happen, but it kind of all went in once. But which I suppose fair on the market, isn't it? Next one, PPP. We've talked to this a few times. Peel Hunt have now got 10% of voting rights. Well, will they hold is the thing I just want to put there. ECR, so directors have taken basically 10k salary sacrifice. There's other directors taking things in lieu of fees. So that's just a bit of a summary RNS really. CAV, 90% of their 6 prospects license they hold now. They talk about having 7,629 kilometres squared. They're doing a review. They've got 5,566 historical drilling bits they've got back and logs and things. So that's great. They're reviewing that. Then they've talked about the fact that they've got a 1.5 million pay for this 90%. Then they have to pay 500k within 90 days. And then another 500k within 180 days. So I just want to make sure the company's got enough money to be able to fund that £1 million in the next 180 days. Just something to look at. But they're looking at AEM survey satellites and imagery to increase their confidence in the work. Last one, AMTE, 105% up on the day. Really big one, isn't it, today? I think it's, look, it's been a long road. There's people well down on this one. And so I'm not going to be... I'm going to be honest and fair, okay? I'm really pleased with you today. I think you've got some light at the end of the tunnel. If you bought in the last few days, happy days. But if you're not, it's been a long road. But I've dug into this RNS. 2.5 million subscription at 1.7p. Okay, that's not happened yet. Okay, so there's a placing at 0.5 for 400k, 200k's worth of CLNs. I mean, I don't like CLNs; they're sort of value destructive for an SP, really. But they have to continue their DD, and it needs shareholder approval for any of this to go through. Okay. Now they've signed off the waiver, so there's no less. Basically, they don't have to take over the company, so they've ruled that out, which is good. There's a talk of cancelling the name and moving to main market if they hit that, possibly in the second quarter of 2024. Then there's a placing in this RNS of 400k and 80 million new shares at 0.5. Then there are 880 million warrants at 0.5. 880 million. So I want to just put out the caveat that you need to understand that there's a lot of warrants, okay? And I don't know what's happening here, but I want to ensure that shareholders are protected. So I want you to look at that RNS in detail and look at the amount of what's going on there, because I think it's important. And they're going to have board control, because at no less than 50%, they have 60% of the board members. 25 to 50%, they have 40% of the board. So again, it's just something to dig into, guys. Okay, and yeah, do your due diligence on. Right, there's an RNS, a bit of a longer one today, because there was a lot of really good RNSs today. So I hope you like the longer version. Sorry it's taken a bit longer today. I hope you had a good evening. If you like what you hear, the link to our Telegram group is in the description of this video. Have a great evening, and I'll see everyone tomorrow.